You have made something really amazing that a lot of people were talking about in schoolers. You have this new thing and it's really exciting, but I know that it's not always easy to find something that people want, to build a product or an offer that people are really excited about. So, before getting into talking about what that thing is that you built, maybe we can just talk a bit about building an offer on Skool and finding your way. Like, how has that experience been for you?
Hi, William. Thank you for having me here. First of all, it's actually very interesting for me how I actually got to on Skool because it's like 1 year ago I started with Skool and I got there quite randomly, I would say, because I booked from someone an offer about learning how to run your business, and I was employed as a game designer at that time, and I always dreamed to basically run my own business, run my own indie studio maybe at some point, like the big dream in the future. And that's why I booked this program. And the program happened to be on Skool. It was a Skool Community. So I joined that program and I started participating in it. But I soon realized the first time that somehow it doesn't feel right because
Mm,
he wanted me basically to reach out on LinkedIn to other people with my game design skills and work for them. But for me, it didn't feel right because then I felt like, okay, but then I'm basically a freelancer, but it feels the same as I'm employed again, which I didn't
mm,
want because I want to build something on my own, right?
yeah,
And and then I basically canceled the whole program and I stayed on Skool. And then I joined a couple of other communities, like some of the bigger ones that are well known. And I'm super overwhelmed because I joined like 50 communities. It
right.
was way too much. And my calendar suddenly was like every day was full from morning to night with some calls and
Mm,
I don't know. And then I had to figure out what is really beneficial for my situation, what will help me in the current stage I'm in with my business or with my life or whatever. And then I
mm,
had to like sort it out again and make it smaller and get rid of like there's so much knowledge but so less time that you have to get rid of the maybe unnecessary stuff at the moment that you don't really need and focus only what you need. And then I
yeah,
started a community around game development. More specifically, I created a community where I wanted to help other game developers and designers to finish their games. Because from my own experience, I know that it's super hard to finish a game. And a lot of people struggle with it, not necessarily from the technical side, but when you have different blockages or some limiting beliefs and so on. A lot of people struggle with it. Statistically, 60% of games never see the light of day in the end.
mm,
And then I wanted to help with that. But then I ran for, I don't know, something over a half a year, maybe almost a year, a community, but it didn't really took off
mm,
because on one side I wasn't so super active on it, to be honest. I should have lead more, I guess. And on the other side, I somehow didn't see myself as a coach so much. I don't know.
mm,
Um, and then because of a lot of other amazing people on the platform that I met along the way, I created a completely new offer, which is where I can focus more on building and connecting people.
right,
Um, which was basically virtual rooms for communities.
right. And so with this room that you built, like this thing seems to be something that people are super excited about. Uh, I've seen it and it looks amazing. Like it makes you, well, maybe describe a bit about what it is. Like, what is this room or what are these rooms?
First of all, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Um, so the idea is basically imagine something like a lot of people use Zoom on School, right? To connect and to have calls. And what I imagined was more like a physical space, but virtually that looks like it could be a place where you would hang out with your community members in real life. But of course, we know in real life, not everybody can meet all the time with people when they are all over the world. So the idea is to have a virtual space for your community. For example, it could be for all the business communities, this could be a virtual co-working office, or for those more spiritual communities, this could be some island or something like that, right?
Right.
And that is more exotic. Yeah, it can be basically anything that you can think of. Like
Mm.
if you can think of it as a space I can build for you, and that's the idea because um, it feels more like a home for the members. It's not just you are on the Skool community and you see all those posts, but you are really in a space together represented by an avatar, and you can
Mm.
like connect with each other and run around in this world. And just like in Zoom, you have all the typical features, like you can turn off on your webcam or turn it off. You can talk with each other. You can present stuff. You can basically hold a presentation, a webinar. Yeah, that's basically all possible. And the cool thing, it's open all the time.
Right.
So I think this is a big opportunity because people can drop in and drop out whenever they like into the
Mm.
room, and therefore new people can connect with each other. Completely strangers can get to know each other, which is usually not really possible on a Zoom call, for example, because usually a Zoom call has an intention. Usually it's some kind of call around a specific topic, and it's
Mhm.
led by one person, by the community owner or someone else. And then
Right.
it's usually also centered around that person. And in
Mm.
this room, it's not like that. It can be like a presentation thing, but it can also be just a hangout, a coffee chill place or whatever, where people can just meet and gather, basically.
Right. Yeah, I can see a lot of benefit to having that kind of free mobility to be able to move around and meet new people. I'm curious about specifically the room that you built that I saw. I know that I think that's part of what sparked a lot of the excitement around it was building a room that, well, first it was like School HQ that you kind of rebuilt in this virtual space. And I guess I'd like to hear or talk more about that, like finding out how to build a space that is so connected to the culture that makes people excited and energized. Because I imagine that if had you just designed a room, like a random different room, maybe it wouldn't have that same kind of excitement around it. So I'd love to just talk more about that, like finding what is that specific space that communities can build that would bring out that excitement for their members. And also maybe even about offers in general. Like, how did you figure out that that was the first room that you wanted to make?
To be honest, for me, it was quite easy and obvious to choose the Skool HQ because since I'm on Skool, and when you are more in the Skool game and you figure out, especially in the early days, that a lot of um, the business and a lot of the activities were centered around the Skool games.
Mm.
Um, a lot of people were participating in it and trying to win. And if you manage to win, you get the reward to meet, um, of course, Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy, but also at the same time, you have the chance to visit the Skool HQ, right?
Yeah.
And the Skool HQ is kind of like this crazy, super creative co-working space where all kind of imaginative objects are flying
Yeah.
around. I don't know,
Right.
like dolphins, astronauts, dinosaurs, robots, all this kind of crazy stuff. And and then you eventually see some glimpses of this room online in some videos when someone is visiting there and is doing a vlog or something like that, or some
Mm.
pictures posted on in the community.
Mm.
But the point is that you never see the whole room. You only see some pictures posted, videos on YouTube with a room tour maybe, but you never really get to see what does the place really look like, and that's what makes it so mystique or yeah exciting.
Mm.
Um, And therefore I was like, okay, I try to build this room also as a challenge for myself. And then I gathered a lot of images and videos that I could find all over the internet. And then I started basically building the room. And
Right.
I also thought it would be great for, it's like the room that is interesting for schoolers, I think
Yeah.
so.
Hmm. One thing that strikes me about that is that you really know your audience. You know, I think when we're building offers, to find that thing that is really going to make people excited can be tricky sometimes, because we think we know what they might want, but then sometimes we put something out in the world and we realize that nobody actually wants it. There's, crickets. And so, yeah, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts around that, because I know that, as you said in the start, you've been building things on Skool, trying different projects and stuff. Like, do you have any advice for people who are still trying to figure out what that offer is that will get people excited?
I'm not sure if I have an advice, but I can I can tell how I went over it and how I
Yeah.
approached it. For me, it was more like, since I did earlier this business course, and people were telling me, okay, you need to do outreach, you need to post on LinkedIn, you need to connect with people, and so on and so on. And I really don't like that. I don't like that part. I'm not a business person. I'm more like a creative guy who wants to build, and therefore, um, my idea was, okay, I'm building this virtual space thing, and there are also other competitors that are doing
Mhm.
similar stuff. Alone Meta is doing their Meta Horizon, however it's called.
Mhm.
But the point is, a lot of other competitors, they rise and then they fall, as I saw it, because they don't have the perfect client. They don't have a user base that really use the product.
Mm.
And then my idea was, okay, this is a perfect fit for school communities. It's like an extension of the community itself, kind of. And the user base is already on Skool, where I'm kind of familiar with it, since I'm already part of it for a longer time. And I don't need to do so much of like cold DMs, cold outreach, and all this stuff to completely strangers, because school is such a place that feels oftentimes familiar. And even if you reach out to someone, you kind of feel already through some points connected,
Mm.
being it just that you are also on Skool, or because usually you get to know people from other communities just by being part of it. And then you already have a common ground or topic to talk about and so on. And that's why it was perfect for me, not wanting to do those
Right.
cold DMs and whatnot. The business outreach part, basically. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess if you're building something that is really exciting and new, that shows that you really know the community that you're serving, then uh, it can move a lot faster. You don't have to do as much of that cold DM kind of stuff. But it's not easy. I'm wondering, like, I know that with that gaming community that you built at the start, there's some challenges with that. Maybe you want to go back, and I'd love to hear a bit more about that experience and why you decided to pivot, because
Mhm.
you did have quite a bit of members in there, like, you were building it.
Yes, I was building it. And funny enough, most members came through Skool, not from outside.
Mm,
But for me, it was a free community, first of all, and I always had the vision to have a free and a paid community. But I already struggled in the beginning having activity in the group, because
mm,
um, I'm not sure if it's a general problem right now, since school is not super big yet. But I had always the problem that, especially game developers that were my main focus, they are on Discord, for
mm,
example. they have their servers there with their other communities, or maybe they completely don't like to be on social media because a lot of people are introverts, and therefore it was very, very hard for me to keep people on Skool and in the community. So when
Mm.
people joined, they joined, but then they were gone for another month or so. And then
Okay.
maybe after a month, someone was again posting, "Oh, hey, I'm back. Sorry, I totally forgot about this. How's it going?"
Mm.
And that's not really activity, right? That's not really what I wanted. On the other side, I have to admit, I also wasn't as active as I could be because I had a lot of other stuff going on, and I wasn't 100% focusing on the whole community. Also, maybe it's not the best to have a 9 to 5
Mm.
on the side or as a main thing. So, yeah.
Right. I guess that's another thing about knowing who your audience is and where they're hanging out, what kind of tools they like to use. Like you have to be really in tune with who you're serving to make this kind of entrepreneurship work. I am curious with this new room that you just built, the Skool HQ, uh, that is everybody's talking about. It looks amazing. What is next for that? Like, do you have any kinds of plans to make that space available again, or can you talk about it? What are your thoughts there?
So the idea is to offer customized rooms for whoever likes to have one, of course. Could be great if more people want to have one. And I'm glad to build different cool places. Yeah, I think I really like the whole thing myself. I'm hanging out with some friends, for example, also regularly in there, and it's so much more fun and so much more exciting than in a Zoom call. Especially because, like I said, especially for example, game developers sometimes are more introverted and stuff, but also in school there are a lot of introverts who maybe don't want to have the camera always on, and you
Mm,
still like when you're in a Zoom call and you know that feeling when everybody has the camera off and it's like totally
yeah,
feels kind of dead, and then maybe the owner, the host has the camera on, but it's like a one-man show. And in the rooms, the cool thing is that you don't have to turn on the camera. You can
mm,
also just hang out, and because you are already represented by an
right,
avatar that is also like feeling alive, um, you feel like you're talking to someone,
right.
even though it's maybe not um, the real face or anything like that, but it still works somehow. And yeah, it's just makes it so much more connected with people, especially when new people are joining. You can just go over there literally and just start to talk to them, like, "Hey, who are you? What's going on? How are you doing? How's your day?" Something like that, and you're already made a connection and you're already in the conversation, which otherwise wouldn't be possible that easily. So, of course, yeah, I would love to build more rooms and to make it big and to, I don't know. I was even thinking about maybe even connecting, like whoever would like to connect the rooms, and then you have
Mm,
like a discovery in 3D,
right,
like a world map, and people can just walk over to the other community and stuff
right.
like that. That would be cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited to see what happens in the future with that. So thanks for the call. Nice talking with you.
Thank you. Um, See you soon. Yeah.